Hi, boys and girls. This is Mr. Yates, and I'm going to be going over the Thursday word problem of the day for April 9th. We'll go ahead and get started right now. First of all, I want to read the problem out loud, and then I'll work on an answer sentence. The Nash family is taking 12 bottles of water on a camping trip. Each bottle contains 800 milliliters of water. How many liters of water are they taking on the trip? So the first thing I do after I'm done reading the word problem of the day is I'm going to go ahead and work on an answer sentence. How many liters of water are they taking on the trip? So that's pretty simple to write down here. They are taking blank liters of water. One thing I want to make sure I pay attention to is the fact that it looks like we have the word liters here for the unit of measurement for our answer sentence, but then they talk about here the bottles being in milliliters. So I'm going to have to pay close attention to that when I'm actually solving this word problem because there's going to be some conversion going on, and I want to be mindful of that while I work this problem out. First thing I'm going to do is I think a unit bar would probably be the best way to represent this. So I'm going to put, we'll call it the Nash family. Nash is probably thinking this is about him. No, it's the Nash family. That's their last name. So it's Nash family, Nash family's water. There's many different ways you can write that, but just make sure that you're showing me that what it is. And I think what we'll do is we'll take and make some unit bars here, or make a unit bar. And I think what we'll do is we'll just take the family water. This is going to be measured in milliliters, ml. The L is capitalized because it helps us to remember that it's not one, it's just milliliters. So then I'm going to make my unit bar going out. I'm going to have some room at the very end here. And now I'm ready to show how much water the Nash family has. So we're going to go here and take a look at our first sentence. The Nash family is taking 12 bottles of water on a camping trip. So that means I'm going to take Nash family's water and I'm going to divide it into 12 bottles of water. And since I really don't want to have to divide or draw 12 spaces, I've always said if you have more than 10 spaces, you can do the 3 dots. So we'll start here with 1, 2, 3, and this will be bottle 1, which is our first bottle of water. And at the very end, since there's 12 bottles of water, this will be bottle number 12. We know how many bottles of water they have. So I'm going to number it as B12 for 12th bottle. So I showed that the Nash family is taking 12 bottles of water on a camping trip. And I don't need the rest of that sentence, so I'm going to take it off. The next one says each bottle contains 800 milliliters of water. So what I'll need to do is I'm going to put in the first bottle of water the number of milliliters that are in there, which is 800. I'm also going to put the same number of milliliters in the last bottle, or the 12th bottle, which is also 800 milliliters. So I've put the milliliters inside the bottles of water, so I'm done with that part, so I'll just cross it out. Now I still have some more words in my word problem, so I want to read those. It says, how many liters of water are they taking on the trip? And there's a question mark at the end. I'm going to start first by looking at that question mark, and I'm going to think, well, I'm actually going to make a question mark at the very end of this unit bar here because I don't know how many milliliters I have first, and then I can convert it over to liters. So what I'll do is I'll put here a question mark, but I'll say total milliliters to remind myself that the first thing I'm going to be doing is finding the total milliliters, and then I'll convert it over into liters. So I think I've got my question mark here for the total milliliters, mindful that I'm going to be converting it over to liters when I'm done. I think I'm going to cross out this part, but I'm going to leave this word liters uncrossed out. And the reason why is I just want to remind myself that when I'm done with this, I have to convert milliliters to liters so that I get the correct unit of measurement that the word problem is asking for. So I'm going to write an expression. First of all, I know that 800 is going to be multiplied 12 times to get my total milliliters. And then once I have my total milliliters, I'm going to divide that number by 1,000 because there are 1,000 milliliters in 1 liter. And by doing that, I'm going to then get our total liters. So the first thing I do is I'm going to multiply 800 times 12. And I'm pretty good at my 12 facts, so I know that 8 times 12 is 96. I have 2 extra zeros, so that's going to be 9,600 milliliters. So that is the number of milliliters that I have, or that the Nash family has for their water bottles. Now the next thing I want to do is I want to take that 9,600, and I probably should be writing this over on my work side because I'm going to run out of space over here, but I think I will be okay. So 9,600 divided by 1,000 will get me my total liters. Now the one thing that's nice about this is I can use some mental math. I know that when I am dividing, I can move the decimal over to the left, the same number of zeros that I have in 1,000. So I'm going to do that over here. I'm going to take 9,600, get rid of the comma so it doesn't confuse me. I'm going to be putting a decimal at the very end of the number. And again, I'm going to be dividing, so I'm moving the decimal to the left. And the number of spaces I'm going to move the decimal to the left depends on the number of zeros I have here. 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to be moving that decimal over to the left 3 spaces. So I'll go 1, 2, 3. Now the decimal looks like it's taking the place of where the comma used to be, but it's a totally different number now. Now my number of liters is 9 6/10 liters. I don't need the other 2 zeros here. So the Nash family, instead of taking, well, they're still taking the same amount of water, it's just represented differently. But instead of showing 9,600 milliliters, which was the total milliliters in this part, instead of having 9,600 milliliters, I now am showing it as 9 6/10 liters. So they're taking 9 6/10 liters. It sounds like they're taking less water, but actually they're not. It's the same amount. It's just represented with a different unit of measurement. All right, boys and girls, and that's how you solve the Thursday word problem of the day for April 9th.